Hello, wonderful beings. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom, episode 166, a place where you're going to receive the message that you need to hear most right now. My name is Anisha, and I help people to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. So, this is a little bit about me, and I would love to know about you guys. So, feel free to drop in a hi in the comments and you can share which part of the world you're joining us from, or like, is this your first time here? So, yeah. And until you guys do that, let me share what we do here in this space for those who are new, to this live. So, we usually begin these lives with a meditation, which is based upon the quote that you see on Insight Timer homepage. So we meditate upon that, we absorb the wisdom from that and feed it to our subconscious mind. And then once we are feeling more open, more receptive, we move on to the second phase of this life, which is about spinning the wheel of wisdom and letting the universe, God, divine source, to choose a book for us to receive the message from. And then we play a game where I ask you guys to pick a number and yeah, and then we, read from that page number, the highlighted text from that page. So that's about it. I will share more details when we get to each part. And first, let us begin with the first part, which is meditation. So let me know in the comments if you are ready for meditation. And okay, CJ says, good morning. It's 4:30 here. Thank you, CJ, for making this space, making me a part of your early morning routine. That means a lot. Mary says, good morning, beautiful Anisha. From Colorado, it's 5:30 a.m. I woke up in time. yeah, I yeah, it is pretty early for you guys. And it means so much that you guys, chose to spend that precious time with me. It means a lot. So thank you for being here, guys. So, yeah, so are you guys ready for the meditation for today? If you are, you can type ready in the comments. Good morning, Lana. Good morning, and welcome here again. we were just beginning with the meditation. Okay, so CJ, Lana, Mary, everyone is ready. Let me quickly drop in a text in the comments as well for those who will join us during the meditation so they know what is happening. Just a second. Okay, done. So, allow yourselves to settle. If you want to hydrate, you guys can hydrate as well. And before we begin, I would really appreciate a confirmation from you guys that are you guys hearing any background sounds from my side? Like, is there any noise in the background? Because there are DJs and everything playing around, so I wanted to know um that yeah, are you guys hearing any background noise? Okay, okay. Hello, Caitlin. Caitlin is ready and just on time. And Mary says all good. Okay. And Caitlin also has given us the confirmation. Wonderful. I'm glad. Okay. So begin by coming into a comfortable position. You can choose to sit, stand, or lie down. Whatever your body needs right now. As you begin to settle in your chosen posture, see if you can get a little bit more comfortable, knowing that you can adjust your posture anytime during the meditation. Your comfort is most important. And now, if it feels safe, allow your eyes to close, or alternatively, you can look downward or fix your gaze on an object. This helps us take away our attention from the world outside of us and arrive within. So the quote for today's meditation is by Maya Angelou. She says, "Nothing can dim the light which shines from within." Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. So let this piece of wisdom settle into the depth of your being. And now I invite you to imagine a soft and warm light deep within you. A powerful yet steady light at the core of your being. Feeling the warmth and strength that this light emanates. Feeling the beauty and truth represented by this light at the core of who you are. This light does not need any kind of effort to exist. It is not something that you turn on. It has always been here. You might sense it in your chest or your belly or anywhere else in your body. Just notice, where do you feel this light? Where is the core of who you are? Wherever you sense it is the right place. So notice if around this light there are layers of fear, grief, self doubt, disappointments, fatigue. So let this darkness or these layers exist as they are. You do not need to push them away. You do not need to analyze them. Simply see them as temporary layers. These layers might represent all the beliefs that you hold about yourself, about who you are, about what you can do and what you can't do. And no matter how heavy these layers are, see that they do not touch the light, the steady, powerful light that is at the core of who you are. These are simply the layers that you have accumulated over time from the outside world, but they do not in any manner affect who you are. This light that you are remains unchanged, untouched, pure. So as you breathe in, feel the warmth of this light. And as you breathe out, allow yourself to rest in it. So, for a few moments, continue to breathe in this manner. Maybe as you breathe in, imagine that this warm and powerful light is spreading, and as you breathe out, notice how the layers around this light, depicting all the limiting beliefs you hold about yourself. So notice these layers melting away in the warmth and in the power of this light. And if it feels too much or too triggering to allow these layers to melt away, then simply imagine that you are creating more space for this light to spread, and the layers can be there in their place, but now there is more space for you to embody who you truly are. Let yourself sit here for a few breaths, held in this light, embodying who you really are. This light has been with you in the moments of joy and in the moments you barely survived. It was there before you learned to question yourself, before you learned to shrink, before the world told you who you should be. Nothing that happened to you has removed it. Nothing you failed to do has dimmed it. Nothing that you feel in any moment can lessen this light. This light does not depend on anything, not confidence, not clarity, not approval. This light shines because you exist. So if it feels right, whisper to yourself this reminder that my light is still here. My light is still here. Feel it spreading into your whole body. So you can embody it fully. The true nature of who you are. The powerful creator that you are. The kind being that you are. And it's okay if those layers still exist. They can be there, and still you can choose to tune into this light and embody it without needing to dissolve all those layers. It's your choice. It's your choice as to how you want to be in each moment. And you always have, and you always will have access to this light. This light that nothing and no one can ever affect. So carry this with you, this knowing that you do not need to chase your light. It is already here. You just need to choose it. And now, if you feel ready to return back to your surroundings, allow yourself to take one last deep breath in, and with the exhale, letting go of this practice. Beginning to wake up your body by wiggling your toes and your fingers, moving your body in whatever direction it wants to be moved. And when you feel ready in your own time, allow your eyes to gently open, arriving back in the space. Welcome back. Okay, so if you guys feel called to share your experience, you can do that in the comments. And if you don't feel like typing yet, that's perfectly all right. And I see that some new people have joined us while we were meditating. So, a warm welcome to you all. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom, a space where you receive the message that you need to hear most right now. And in case you guys missed the meditation, which was on today's quote on the homepage of Insight Timer, I will share towards the end of this live where you can find it. But for now, we are going to move on. I'm going to read the comments and then we will move on to phase two of this live where we are going to we're going to spin the wheel of wisdom and receive the messages that we need to hear. Okay, so let's see. Um, Gail says, if you're doing individual readings, I would love one. Welcome, Gail. Welcome. And Gail, you can say we do individual readings and collective ones both at the same time because um, I ask you guys to pick a number, and if my intuition feel called to your number, I do a reading for that. Okay. So yeah, since you're here, I'm assuming that there might be something that wants to come through, yeah, to you. So yeah, I hope that something really resonates with you from this live. Parveen says, good morning, Parveen. Welcome. Caitlin says, lovely journey. Oh, I am so happy that, you felt like you went on a journey within the best kind, right? so yeah, thank you for sharing that, Caitlin. And Kathleen says, hi Anisha, that was beautiful. I felt connected with the younger version of myself, full of joy, light, and possibilities. Thank you. Oh, that is so wonderful that, you know, this space felt safe enough for that younger little Kathleen to show up and to be herself. I love that. Thank you, Kathleen, for sharing that. Gail says, thank you. You're welcome, Gail. Caitlin says, Kathleen and I always show up in the comments together. Yeah. And that's why it twists my tongue to say both of your names because they are kind of similar, at least to me. You are comment buddies. Marcus says, hi from Italy, a good Sunday. Hello, Marcus. Welcome. You're just in time for the readings. Mary says, I really love that you reminded me of my light. So very moving. Thank you to Maya Angelou for the message. Yeah, I loved today's quote, and I was excited for today's meditation. So I am so happy, Mary, that you got in connection with your light today. Our world can use that. Yeah, Caitlin says they are sister names. Yes. Yeah, okay. So, my lovely people, now let us move on to the reading part because I know some people are curious about that. So, let me share with you our wheel of wisdom. So, this is our wheel of wisdom, and this wheel contains the name of 51 transformational books that I have came across in my own journey of healing and personal growth. So what we are going to do now is we are going to take a moment and either bring to our mind anything specific that we need guidance on. It can be a specific issue, it can be a specific desire, or a specific situation, or a specific area of your life, whatever comes up for you. So, if you have something specific regarding which you are seeking guidance, then bring that to your mind. And if there is nothing specific going on in your life that you need guidance or support on, then you can simply hold this wish that may everyone, including you, receives the message that is for the highest good. And with either of those in your awareness, let us spin and see which book wants to come through for us, and then we will play a game. Okay? So, holding that in your awareness. Okay, so the book that came up for us is When Things Don't Go Your Way by Heyman Sunim. So this book has a lot of gems. And let me open the book and choose some numbers so that we all can play a game. So, and let me show you the cover of this book. Hmm, okay. Yeah. So this says, when things don't go your way, Zen wisdom for difficult times. So choosing some numbers for the game. Yeah. So my dear ones, the instructions for this game is I'm going to ask you guys to pick a number between certain numbers. And I do not want you guys to rush. Instead, take your time and say which number are you feeling called to. And then share that number in the comments. I will go through all your numbers and pick a number that my intuition is feeling called to. Okay? So I invite you guys to pick a number between 17 to 202. So, yeah, share your numbers in the comments. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Kathleen, Steph, Caitlin, Susan, Alan, Sharon, Mary. Thank you, guys, for sharing the numbers. Okay, anyone else before we before we move on to choosing part? Okay, so let us go through these numbers and pick one that my intuition feels called to most. Okay, so the number that I am feeling most called to is 180, and the number has been chosen by Alan for all of us. And again, even though I haven't, if I don't choose your number, still, if you're present in the space, it means that the message is for you. Otherwise, you won't be here in this live. Mm. So, the author says that the reason people don't succeed is that they only think inwardly and never put those thoughts into action. That is one of the things that people get stuck in, especially when it comes to people who are seeking, improvement. They are like they gather more and more resources, they gather information, they research a lot, they plan stuff, and then when they do all of these things and never actually act on the information that they're getting. So if that is something, if that is a pattern for you, then the universe is nudging you to take a small step to apply whatever knowledge that you have in your life, in a very small way, so that you can start to see change instead of making the perfect plan, taking the biggest leap, instead of getting stuck in that perfectionism, because which is also a form of procrastination. So take that step. That is, I guess, the nudge from the universe that is coming forward. And yeah, and there is more. So the author says, when we first discover a problem, we may feel hesitant to confront it directly. However, if we continue to delay action, it will only escalate. Don't wait too long and regret that you didn't dealt with it earlier. If you look closely, you will see a way to solve it. So that was also in terms of, taking that action or doing something, no matter how unpleasant the situation is, no matter how big the problem seems. Take whatever next step that you can see. Maybe you don't see the whole pathway, maybe you don't know the whole solution, but just ask yourself that what is that one thing that I can do in this situation right now, and take that step, and the next would appear. So, trusting that the next step, the whole pathway would unfold one by one. But all you also need to bring in something, you also need to meet God or the universe halfway, or at least to take that first step towards that. So, let me know, Alan, if this message resonated with you or anyone else, if this resonated with you, or if anything else is coming up for you as listen to that reading or do whatever I said. And until you guys do that, if anyone is feeling called to share, you can do that in the comments. And until you do that, let us move on to second reading for today. So again, if you know, I am so happy to hear that, Alan. Um, because your feedback really means a lot to me. Each time you share your experience of the reading, it helped me develop more trust in my own inner wisdom, and to also, you know, do this live so that you guys can also learn to trust yours. Okay, so Alan says resonated very strongly for me. And I hope that you do, you know, gather the courage to take that step, Alan. And Mary says, me too, Alan. Wonderful. Wishing you the same for you, Mary. Kathleen says it resonates very strongly with me too. Happy to hear that this reading resonated with a lot of you guys. You're welcome, Alan. So, now time for the second reading. So, again, bring to your mind whatever it is that you need guidance on, and holding that or a wish for everyone, let's spin. Okay, so the book that came for all of us is The Buddha is Still Teaching by Jack Cornfield. So let's see what wants to come through this beautiful book, and what is the teaching that we need to receive right now from Buddha. Okay, give me a second to pick some numbers. And until I do that, if up until now, this live has delivered anything valuable to you, or if you just liked hanging out here, and if you would like to support me to keep this live going on, to keep this space alive, then you can do so by making a small donation so that I can continue doing this that I love so much. And I also can create more resources. And if you don't know, I have already created a lot of resources which you can find on my teacher profile. Okay, so let me choose the numbers. Okay, so the numbers between which I invite you guys to choose are 18 to 216. Again, no rush, take your time. I will pick a number intuitively out of all your comments, okay? So, yeah, share away. Thank you, Susan, Caitlin, Sharon. Anyone else who would like to share a number? Okay, then. Okay, we have a number. Thank you, Jenny. So let us go through these numbers and see which one am I feeling most called to. Okay, so the number that is calling me most is 214, and the number has been chosen by Caitlin for all of us. Okay, let's see what is on page number 214. Interesting. Okay, so the heading for this is Kathleen is celebrating Caitlin. Beautiful. So it seems like these chapters like have been taken from other authors' work. So this chapter has been written by Tony Packer from I think his book The Work of This Moment. And the heading is Cleansing Our Perceptions. Cleansing Our Perceptions. So the author says, the other day, the little stream that runs near the center was gushing noisily downhill with lots of muddy water hiding its depth. Today it is flowing quietly, clearly, exposing sheets of brightly shimmering green bedrock. Can we see things just as they are right now without wanting them to be otherwise, without comparing them favorably or unfavorably, without wanting them to stay this way forever, without clinging and depending, without wanting to own and possess. Can we human beings share life on earth together without trying to own each other or trying to get rid of each other? The idea of possessing each other gives an illusory sense of security. Along with it, inevitably, goes the fear of losing what we have become accustomed and attached to. What does it mean to see each other exactly as we are? Past memories about ourselves and each other are not what we are right now. Memory is an incomplete and inaccurate recording of the past. Now is something entirely different. Quietly looking and listening now is not memory. It is an entirely different mode of mind. It is a cleansing of perception. So, the author is inviting us to meet this moment and the person that is right in front of us as they are, without letting our perception, which is basically our sensations, our five senses, plus mind made meaning added, that becomes our perception. So, without letting the past pollute our perception of what is right here in front of us today, right now. So, I guess the author is inviting us to cultivate a beginner's mind to meet, the person in front of us or the object in front of us as if we are seeing or interacting with it for the very first time in our entire life, or in its or theirs entire life. So, and maybe giving this a try today, or even just interacting with one person today like that. So I'm not saying to go and see everyone as if you're meeting them for the very first time, because our memory has its own function, and sometimes it is there to protect us in some way. So maybe instead of practicing this with the most difficult person, practicing this with a safe person, the person who you feel safe with, and practicing this with them, seeing them as if you're seeing them for the very first time, talking to them as if you're talking to them without any beliefs about who they are, what kind of a person they are, what they, any ideas that you hold about them. And if you don't even feel safe enough to do that with a person, doing this with an object, that feels like even more safer to do. So, interacting with one object today as if you have seen this in your life for the very first time. And this is a very beautiful practice to bring you right into the present moment. Exactly, exactly, Gatlin. So not going with the most, not doing this with a high stake, person, because it's like you don't know that skill, and you are like you don't know how to operate even a boat, and now you have to operate a whole ship in the middle of ocean while the storm is going on. So it's like that when we jump to the hardest thing, and it is natural to do that because we are like, okay, if only this gets solved, then everything would be nice in my life. So that's why we go to the most important thing, but that might actually increase the chances of us, failing, and that would um, break our confidence in a way. So, starting small. Okay. And if you want to, before I go back to the comments, and if you are like, if you need some guidance doing that, I actually have this whole practice and similar practices regarding this, with the same kind of concept in terms of meeting like your environment like this, so that you can be more present, so that you can like really experience the beauty of life. So let me share that here in case anyone wants to go through that, because it has many innovative and creative practices like this. So I hope that those would be helpful for you to cultivate that beginner's mind, to cultivate that curiosity and openness towards life. Okay, so let's hear it from Caitlin, whose number we chose. She says, potent reminder of the power of now. and acceptance and openness to the moment. So many things going on in that. Yeah, a lot of beautiful reminders. And yeah, and just see which one you are feeling most, um, resonated with. Or maybe you're feeling, like, yeah, I love this and this and this and all of these different ideas. Then still you're like choosing one. If I had to apply this one idea to my life right now, or to today, or to the next hour of my life, then what would I do differently? Because when we apply, drawing on the first reading, when we apply what we have learned, that's how we begin to see change. So actually apply whatever you are catching from this reading into your life for the next hour, next minute, whatever feels doable for you. That is most important. Okay. So Kathleen says, good suggestion, Anisha. And yeah, I addressed that part, the second comment. Okay. Wonderful. So so let we have time for one more reading. So let us do one final reading for today. Okay. And let us spin the wheel again. So bring to your mind again anything that you need guidance on or support for. And let's see which book wants to come up for us. Okay, so the book that came is The Pocket Pema Chodron. So basically it has like um different chapters or her wisdom taken from all of her different books into one or something like that. So like a collection of her work. Okay. Caitlin says this was so wonderful to settle into this snowstorm and weather we are experiencing here in the States. Yeah, I hope that all of you are safe, and yeah, I am sending you a lot of warmth, and I hope, I wish you some ease as you go through all of this, things that are not in your control. So I hope that you can find some peace and ease and warmth, and may you feel safe and healthy as you go through this. Okay, so yeah, so this is our book that came up, the final book for today. Oh, I love her smile. Okay, so let me, choose some numbers, and then I will read the comments. Hmm. So I invite you all to pick a number between 10 to 107. Again, no rush, take your time. I will choose a number based on my intuition, okay? So yeah, feel free to drop a number that you are feeling called to between those two numbers. And Kathleen says, agreed, so much snow. I have this little electric heater with a fake flame and a light therapy light on. Haha, so cozy. Ha, it sounds cozy. Mm, love that. Thank you, Kathleen, for sharing a number. Thank you, Lana. Anyone else who would like to share a number? Okay. So thank you, Caitlin. So let me go through these numbers. Thank you, Mary. And see which one am I feeling most called to. And the number that I'm feeling most called to is 77. Thank you, Lana. Caitlin says, I'm in love with Lana's dress. Beautiful picture. Oh, I wish I could see it. Like it is very tiny for me. But yeah, okay. Now let us see what Lana's number brings all of us. Okay, page number 77. Hmm. Okay, so the author says there are no promises. When we are training in the art of peace, we are not given any promises that because of our noble intentions, everything will be okay. In fact, there are no promises of fruition at all. Instead, we are encouraged to simply look deeply at joy and sorrow, at laughing and crying, at hoping and fearing, at all that lives and at all that lives and dies. We learn that what truly heals is gratitude and tenderness. What is coming up for me from this is that, that life, that no matter what practice we try to adopt, we are all looking for that practice that would like make everything better, that tool, that person, that would take away all the pain and all the suffering, and all we will be left with is joy and happiness and love and all of that. But I guess there is a reminder here that those things are a part of life, and the skills that might help us to navigate our life, which consists of both of these things, of happiness and sorrow, is gratitude. When the good things are present, when we have that peace that we are seeking, when you have that, happiness and warmth and whatever it is that we are seeking. So, to acknowledge those moments, to express gratitude for them, to savor them. And then the second thing that the author mentioned was tenderness. So, the second skill that might help us navigate life, which consists of both happiness and sorrow, especially with the sorrow part, is tenderness. Meaning, when bad things are happening, when, like when we're feeling unpleasant, when we're having a hard time, when we're feeling low, then being tender, like not closing our heart to whatever is happening, but opening up and letting that touch our heart, and knowing that, you know, we don't need the assurance that everything is going to be okay, because no one can promise that. As the heading is, that there are no promises. But one thing that, trusting ourselves that we would be able to hold anything that arises within us, we would be able to handle anything that happens in our life, because we have done that so far. You are here, right? So you have, encountered all of those challenges and difficulties and things that you thought you would never be able to face, you would never be able to achieve, you would never be able to overcome. You have all faced that. We have all faced those hard times, and we are here. breathing. We have survived that. We have, um, we have scars, maybe the outer ones or maybe the inner ones because of that. And so trusting that no matter what arises within, no matter what happens in your life, trusting ourselves that we can hold it, we can, you know, deal with it in our own messy, imperfect ways, but we can, go through that and we can be okay. We can survive that. And not just surviving that through force, but with tenderness, with love, with compassion for ourselves. When that difficulty arises, when that unpleasantness arises, when those things arises that makes us cry, that makes us feel alone and ah, all messed up, we can hold them in our heart. We can hold that tenderness. We can, be tender. We can have compassion. We can have love. We can be there for ourselves and be kind for ourselves and other people, maybe as well. So, yeah, that was what came up for me from that reading. Let me know if anything else came up for you guys in the comments. And let's see. Lana says, accept the good and the bad with gratitude and tenderness. Exactly, you summed up, you know, correctly. So I hope that some part of it landed with you, Lana, and anyone else who needed to hear that today, who is in the space or who might listen to the recording, maybe. Kathleen says, thank you for sharing your vulnerability, compassion, and knowledge. So much gratitude to you, Anisha. Yeah, I guess you sensed that vulnerability getting spilled as I shared that. Because I guess we all go through that hard time, right? And we all deserve that tenderness. Oh, thank you so much, Kathleen, for this support. It means so much to me that you believe in the space, you believe in what I have to offer, or that you are here. Your presence means a lot to me, really. Oh, thank you so much, Lana. I am glad that this reading resonated with you, or something about the space touched you. Thank you, both of you. Thank you for allowing me to keep doing this, for allowing me to keep showing up, for allowing me to, you know, create more beautiful stuff that I've planned for everyone. Thank you. You're welcome, Jenny. You're welcome, dear. Okay. Ooh. Caitlin says resonates and is a solid reminder of a big feeling of the edgier, unsettling unsettling kind that I had to sit with recently. Very good read. Wow. This was a powerful, incredible session, friends. Yeah, it was. It was. I guess the last live and this one has been like a bit emotional, and I love the emotional ones because I guess that's what we all need sometimes, to be emotional together, to be vulnerable together. To even feel weak together or messy together or imperfect together, because we are humans, right? And stuff happens, and we are not always our best. Life is not always our best. It's best. And that's why I love the space that we can share that together here, and we can be open to receiving what we need in those moments most. Kathleen says, me too. So much connection. We needed that. Yeah, I too needed that. Okay. I guess it is time to end this live. Um, mm, okay, yeah, I'm feeling called to do one more thing. Maybe not a book reading, but maybe um maybe opening like my own social media, and like not my page, but yeah, opening a social media page and scrolling, because that's what I do sometimes. So when I need some guidance, what I do is so like I've programmed my social media to not be depressing and more be more uplifting, be more reassuring and kind and all of that. So yeah, I think some people call that bloom scrolling or something like that, which I later discovered. I was like, okay, I'm doing that. But yes, I want to do that with you. So and I hope that we all will receive a reassuring message from the universe. The last one to wrap this live. Caitlin says, it wasn't bad, but deep. Okay, let me, yeah, a lot of comments both, poured in, so let me go through them one by one. Yeah, Verizon went out and I kind of spiraled as soon as my phone signal was lost. So many panicky tangents and thoughts, and thought trains went running like mad. But I was like, Caitlin, you can sit with this. Feeling unsettled and so attached to the phone. Sit with that. Oh, I loved how you talk to yourself, Caitlin, how you talk yourself through that, and how you allowed yourself to settle through that unsettling feeling. And sometimes if you can't sit with that, maybe move with that. Allow your body to move, because these are energy, this is emotion, so sometimes it feels difficult to just sit. So yeah, so meaning like be with that, but you can also be with that in the form of movement, allowing yourself to dance, to sing, to move, to shake, whatever it is that you feel called to. And thank you so much, Caitlin, for sharing that example with all of us as to like how we can apply this in our life, and how just by like reading the next line when you said that, Caitlin, you can sit with this. It felt like very calming in itself just reading that. So thank you for bringing that energy in the space as well, Caitlin. He just says, I love the space we created here, Anisha and friends. Yeah, me too. Misha says, how do you do that? Design your social media to be positive. Sometimes it takes time and energy. So I have like these different mhm, profiles. So what I do is that on one, I programmed it, meaning basically I liked it and I interacted with that particular kind of content more by like liking it, by going, I guess, in some kind of social media there is an option to select like interested. So I tapped on that and selected the content that I want more of. So one of my social media only shows me like nature pics. So like you are in a countryside and there are like in the forest, or the content with babies and nature, babies and puppies in nature, so that kind of stuff. So I open that, but I'm feeling like all over the place. So I open that sometimes when I need to calm myself down before I do any of the inner work. So that helps me feel better. So yeah, all of that. And one kind of social media I like interacted more and teased it in a manner, I don't know what the word to use, but to show me like more reassuring kind of content, like wise words and stuff like that. So that's what I did pretty much. um I hope that, yeah, I was able to convey how I kind of designed my social media to be more positive. And I do have one social media which has all the, random stuff like whatever usual social media have, negative stuff and whatever is going on, around that. But I haven't opened it in the past, I guess 3 or 4 months actually. Yeah, so I'm no more like addicted to social media anymore. And when I open the one that I've programmed to be positive, I actually feel like I don't need to scroll for a long time. I feel content within like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of scrolling. That's it. I don't need more because I got what I needed. So that is also like a more of intentional use of it to ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? And then opening that kind of, resource for that. And I just made it my resource. Okay. And I think I created a track on that, like how to be more intentional with your social media thing. Not how do I programmed it, but how to be more intentional with it. So I hope that you will like it. Caitlin says, oh yes, a special booster read. I love training the algorithm to be uplifting and affirmative. Yeah, me too, me too. And yeah, pretty much what Caitlin shared that Misha, the biggest thing is to only interact with the kind of things you want to see. Do not give any time to what you do not like. Turn off news, post if need to be. Unsubscribe or mute post you do not want to see. It takes effort and time, but algorithm learns. Yeah, so sometimes I just sit, with some of them, what I did was I sat for 1 hour and did this whole thing that Caitlin is sharing, which really helped me in the longer run. So that, thank you, Caitlin, for sharing that very in detail. Um, hmm. Yeah, we have to be deliberate, but you can do it for like, you can do it for 1 hour and then it learns, or you can do it like 1 or 2 or 3 times and then it learns pretty quickly. Um, okay. Caitlin says just like in real life. I guess so. Yeah. Okay. So, one final booster read from our positive, beautiful social media feed. Okay, give me a second to open it. So, let's see what wants to come through social media. Message that we all need to hear as we wrap this space. Okay. So, the person who wrote this post says, what we have been told success is college degree, high paying job, hustling non-stop, fancy materialistic items. But what success really is freedom, peace of mind, loving what you do, feeling healthy and strong, making a positive impact on others. And maybe your success definition might not align with this person's. But the idea behind it is to let go of those definitions of what it means to be successful that you have learned from society, that you have learned from family, and all of that stuff. And actually asking yourself that what would success mean to me in different areas of my life, and not just, your finances, not just your career, but the overall perspective of what would it mean like to be successful at life in every area of my life. And that would give you, a more authentic version of a more authentic definition of success, to redefine that for yourself. And I actually, I guess last week or so, I actually created a guide around that, and it is a free guide. Um, so in that I have done this thing to some part, and I actually do this with my clients a lot because usually we come with conditioning and we keep on following that, until something big happens, until we burn out, until, um, like we achieve it, but we feel empty, and all of those things happen, and we never question it. We never see it that does it align with who I am? Does this makes me feel fulfilled or not? So finding ge- and sometimes when we don't fit into that criteria, that definition, that milestones that we need to take, then we think that there's something wrong with us. So that is why it is so important to actually understand, to ask ourselves this question, that what would success mean to me, and actually creating a having more clarity around what you really truly want that would actually fulfill you, and then creating the plan and everything, and that too, not only focusing on living it in the future, but also learning to actually live it in your life right now, because we never know about the future, and the only way to feel fulfilled is if you also bring some aspect of it into your present day. So yeah, so I have like touched on it a little bit in that guide. And yeah, and if you want to do this like in detail, you can always reach out and we can do this together for you as well. But yeah, that was the message, to redefine what success means to you, or what happiness means to you, whatever word applies to you. So I guess that was today's message as we end this live. And yeah, I guess that's it that we wanted to cover in today's live. So thank you so much for being here, for your lovely comments, for all the love and all the, sometimes I'm out of words and there's this feeling just but yeah, thank you for sharing anything that you brought to the space. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you day after tomorrow in my next live, which is at the same time. And if you want to, yeah, and if you missed out on this live, or if you want to, do the guided meditation again, or if you want to like access that guide or work with me and do all of those different things, then you can do that by going to my profile on Insight Timer, going to the About section here, okay, scrolling all the way down, and here you will find a way to, um, you know, access today's live, see all of my offerings, see all of the gifts that I offer, all the stuff that I have. So I hope that you will find something from here that is going to be helpful for you. So, yeah. Caitlin says the perception again. Ooh, I like when the theme appears. That was perfect. Yeah, me too. I love when these like bits and pieces of magic left their spark on us. I love that. Okay, you're welcome, Mary. You're welcome, Misha. I bow down to the divine within you all. Namaste. May you all be safe. May you all be healthy. May you all be happy. May you all live with ease. Bye. See you day after tomorrow. Take care.